Well, hey everybody, we're waiting for the Oakland Unified School District's news conference to get started. They're running late by about a minute. It says, please wait. As you can see, the host will let you in soon. Let's give it another whirl, see what's happening here. Open link. And yep, it says, please wait. The meeting host will let you in soon. So we are in a holding pattern. Yeah, we are in a holding pattern. Oh, here we go.
A total of 11.
Oh, here I am. I'm in it.
I believe I'm here.
I was going to turn your TV on down there.
Oh, try it.
Hi, John.
Hey, Zane, how are you?
Awesome. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I want to set this so that you guys can. I'm going to set it so that you guys can record this, but I don't know that I have that ability. I don't think I can. I can for like TV and radio media. Are you guys all just recording for screens? Or do you need me to? What I can do is I can record and then I can send a link to you if you want. So
I think that would work.
You think that would work?
Yeah, because John, I tried to record it on my screen. It won't allow me to. So I think as the host, you're the only one who can record.
Well, no, I was just checking to see if everybody was just going to record shooting it off their screen, but I guess you guys don't want to do that. So I will record to the cloud, and I will get I've done that in the past. It's actually pretty easy. They send a link almost immediately after the thing is over, and then I can just forward that to you. So
well, hey, John, just out of curiosity, do you mind a live stream broadcast? Is that okay?
You go right ahead. Whatever you want to do there, Zane.
That's what's happening. Okay, cool.
All right, we'll just give it a couple more minutes, just real quick, maybe 2:35, just to make sure everybody else is here.
Thanks. You okay? What's wrong? I can take this.
And just so our media friends know, we do have some of our colleagues from OUSD here on the line. I see principals, I see district leadership, and you'll also be hearing from our Board of Education President, Jody London, in a little bit. Okay. All right, I think we can go. I'll keep an eye on. Whoever's got me on speaker in the background, that's giving me a pretty good echo. If you can kill that speaker, that'd be great. All right. Does this look okay, everybody? Is that all right? Cool. See what the chat says. KGO is recording. You know, Jody, you sent this. Yeah, when I looked in more, it didn't have that option to allow them to record for some reason. So I don't know why. Reginald Mosley says, parents are here as well. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. And some of our staff is saying that they are hearing there's an update on bargaining. So may not have what you want to hear there, actually. So sorry to disappoint if anybody. Let's see. Hang on one second. Let me take care of one little housekeeping matter. Jody, I just made you, Jody talking to you, I just made you co-host. If you see anybody else while you're there coming into the waiting room, in fact, I'll just disable the waiting room so everybody else. All right, I think people should just be able to come in now. All right. Anything else here? Okay. All right. So as long as everybody's ready, I will go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm John Sasaki. It's spelled S-A-S-A-K-I. I'm the communications director for Oakland Unified School District. We are here Friday, the 7th. We are now 3 days before the beginning of the 2020-21 school year. It's a very, very exciting time. Generally speaking, this is one of the most exciting times for everybody across the district, for our staff, for our leadership, for our Board of Education, for our students and for our families. This is a time that everybody looks forward to. You know, the summer is a long time away from each other. And this is a time when we all get to get back together again, get to see each other in school, get to hug our kids, get to start the learning process and be together. And that's what we're all about here. And so this year is obviously very, very different. This is not going to be school as normal. As you guys all know, you know, when we turned on a dime back in March, we had to switch over to a completely different kind of model of education. And as you know, it continues here this fall. You know, we had already decided that we as a school district would be going into distance learning to start the school year because of the situation with COVID here in Alameda County, and you know, with spikes across the country. It's certainly a concern for all of us. But then, of course, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, decided to ensure that that was the case for every school district that sits in a county that is on the watch list. So the governor said that as long as you're on the watch list, you have to be distance learning in your schools, and you won't be able to start in-person learning until your county is off the watch list for 14 straight days. We're certainly hopeful that that happens very, very soon, because all of us want to get back to a point where we can meet with our students, meet with our families, meet with our colleagues, just under regular circumstances. But at least at this point, it doesn't look like that's happening anytime real soon. So school does start on Monday. And so there are a lot of questions as to what that means. There's a lot of questions as to what that entails as far as technology, things like that. So I just want to go through a few updates with you real quick. I will address one that one of my colleagues brought up, and that is there an update on negotiations with our labor partners? And I can tell you right now that there is not an update on labor negotiations. We continue to negotiate with our labor partners, particularly OEA, the Open Education Association, and we are very hopeful that we will come to an agreement very, very soon, that we can move past that and get on to the business of teaching and learning that all of us really want to focus on. So we're hopeful that happens soon. And as soon as that does, we will inform you as quickly as possible. I will put out a press release. We'll possibly have a press conference again. But until that happens, we'll just hold off on any more information about that. You know, labor negotiations are have to be very, very careful, and we don't want to be saying too much with regard to anything that's going on. But we know that both sides are working very hard to come to an agreement. So we're excited about getting to that agreement and moving forward with the school year. There are some, as you know, our grab and go food service for our students has been an amazing success thanks to our remarkable nutrition services team, our central office staff who's been there, all of our volunteers who have been amazing as well. Since March 16th, which was the Monday that we started with closing our campuses, and that is closing our campuses to in-person learning, and we started the Grab and Go program. That was the first day of it. Since then, we have served nearly 3.9 million student meals to our families, to our students. And beyond that, hundreds of thousands of meals for adults. We have handed out hundreds of thousands of pounds of groceries from the Alameda County Community Food Bank. We have handed out diapers and books for kids and art supplies and plants that kids could go plant and grow fruit or vegetables in their yards to help them, learn about horticulture and learn about vegetables and good eating. And so, it's been a remarkable partnership with all the support that we've had from the community, all the support that we've had from all the various agencies and companies that have stepped forward, the Golden State Warriors, the Open A's, Eat, Learn, Play, Steph and Aisha Curry's organization, of course, Alameda County Community Food Bank. Help a Mother Out is the organization that gave us the diapers. The Berkeley Humane Society gave us food for pets. And there's just a whole host of other organizations, supplybank.org. I really can't even mention all of them. Cliff Bar has been great, giving us bars for the kids and actually supplying us with meals for our adults. And there's been a number of restaurants across Oakland that have helped as well. So with adult meals. So we've had this great collaboration, and that will continue. So starting on Monday the 10th. We will have grab and go again. We were off this week because our nutrition services staff has been on training, but starting on Monday, we will be back at it. During the spring, we had 12 different sites that we were operating. During the summer, we did 24. Now we're backing off to 22. So we closed 3 sites. Those sites that we closed are Emerson, East Oakland Pride, and Melrose Leadership Academy. And we are opening ICS, which is International Community School, and Think College Now, which is a combined campus on East 14th International Boulevard, right around 28. So that's going to be a great location to pick up food. But there are some very, very important things to know about the process of picking up food. One, our hours up until last week were 8 to 12 on Mondays and Thursdays. And of course, you can pick up, just as a reminder, you can pick up breakfast, lunch, and supper for our students on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's 9 meals. Thursday, Friday, 6 meals. So that was 8 to 12. Now it's expanded out from 8 until 1 p.m. So that's good news. It's going to give our families a little more leeway as far as picking up the food. But there's a very, very important change that's coming. And that is, since March 16th, we have welcomed any student, any child, frankly, in Oakland. Their families have been able to come pick up food. What that means is if you have a 2-year-old, you can come pick up food. If you had an 18-year-old who's a senior at a charter school or a private school, if you have a 15-year-old who is homeschooled, you could come and pick up the food. But now, because of a change in a waiver from the federal government, we can no longer supply food to anybody who is not an OUSD student. So what that means is, as you come in to pick up food, you will be asked for a letter that we sent you this week, which will have a barcode and your student's ID number. And if you don't have that, you'll have to identify your student, his or her name, the school they go to, and the grade they're in, and then we'll have to verify all of that. These things will have to happen very quickly, obviously, because we want to process people through in a very quick manner. But it's something that is, put upon us by the federal government. We would certainly love to get back to a point where we can feed everybody that comes to our schools, all the students, all the young people who come to our schools, all their families who are there hoping for the support. We know that so many people in Oakland are suffering and have been going through so much because of the pandemic, because of loss of jobs, loss of resources. And so we'd love to get back to a point where we can actually give the food to anybody who needs it. But for the time being, at least, we're going to have to follow the federal government's guidelines and feed just our students who are K-12 students in OUSD, OUSD district-run schools, that is. Unfortunately, we can't even feed our charter students anymore. The charter schools will be responsible for feeding those students. And then also our young adult programs, students will be able to come and get food as well. So those are very, very important to make sure that they're taken care of as well. So some big changes coming to grab and go, but it should go smoothly, and we'll be back at it Monday morning and Thursday morning. If there are any questions as to where it happens, you can go to our website, OUSD.org. There's all kinds of information about our grab and go program. With regard to technology, and I'm sure you guys all know about the Open Undivided campaign. The Open Undivided campaign is about getting technology to the hands of, hang on one second, I apologize. Let me just do something quickly here. All right. So The Oakland Uninvited campaign is an amazing campaign that we started with Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, City of Oakland, the Oakland Public Education Fund, Tech Exchange, and a whole host of amazing supporters of Step Forward. Probably the most notable is Jack Dorsey from Twitter, gave us $10 million within days of us starting this campaign. And this is to make sure that we close the digital divide that exists here in Oakland once and for all. And so in June, early June, we ordered 25,000 computers. That's about 19,000 for our students in district-run schools and another 6,000 or so for charter students. And so our goal is to make sure that we close that digital divide once and for all so that every student has all the access to their education and frankly to the world that all of their colleagues, all of their peers do too. Bottom line is if you can't access the world when you're at home the way you can at school, you don't have the same advantages that some of your peers do. And so we want to make sure that we close that divide. We have all these computers still on order. They're arriving this week and into next week, I believe. And of course, that's been a factor of disruptions to the supply lines. Of course, not just the computers themselves, but all the parts that have been needed to assemble those computers. And then beyond that, of course, we're not the only school district that's ordering a huge number of computers. This is something that school districts are doing across the country. And so everybody's ordering computers pretty much all at once. And so once we get those in, we will go through the process that we have to go through in order to make sure that we can get those computers to all of our students. That said, we have a tech check survey that has been going out to our families for over the past week or so. And we want all of our families to make sure that they fill out that tech check survey because you cannot get a computer to your student for good until you filled out that survey. And what I mean by for good, these computers through the Oakland Uninvited campaign are the students' computers to keep. If you are a student who has at home, you don't have the resources to have a computer. Maybe your family just hasn't been able to do that for you. This is a computer that you get to keep. If you're a kindergartner, if you're a fifth grader, if you're a seventh grader, if you're a 10th grader, you can keep this computer throughout the rest of your educational career here in OUSD and take it even beyond that. Along with that, we will be providing technology that allows hookup to the internet. And that is Wi-Fi through hotspots. And we just entered an amazing partnership with T-Mobile. They're getting us 15,000 hotspots, which are going to be key to making sure that our students have the kind of connectivity that they deserve and they need. And then in some cases, of course, we will encounter spots where maybe the hotspot isn't really the right method for getting Wi-Fi in the house. So we're working with organizations like Comcast to get broadband in the home for those who need that. And so this is an enormous collaborative effort. We couldn't do this without the amazing people who stepped up to support us, including Comcast, including T-Mobile, including many, many other organizations. I can't even name them all, so I apologize. But if you look on our Oakland Undivided page, you can find all kinds of information about all those folks and all that they've done for us. So now that's the Oakland Undivided technology that we're talking about, which will start going out, we expect, around the end of this month, maybe the last week of this month and into September. That's important because, okay, now you're wondering, well, do your students not have technology right now? The good thing is that back in the spring, we sent site-based computers home with our students. So I'd say the majority of our students who needed that technology have the technology already. That said, yesterday, for example, I was at East Oakland Pride Elementary School where we had just a fantastic backpack giveaway and school supply giveaway courtesy of Office Depot, one of our fantastic partners. And we were also there handing out computers to students who need them. And I want to point out that these computers are not just about ensuring that kids can fully access their education, but it's also about helping our families. A lot of our families haven't been able to get on the internet before now. And so this is going to open up all kinds of abilities for them to access services and support that they wouldn't otherwise be able to access, at least not as easily. So this is a boon for not just our kids, but also their families. So we are very excited to get these into their hands. If they don't have them already, the place to start if you don't already have a computer, and what I'm talking about right now are the loaners. If you don't already have a loaner, contact your principal first and foremost, or your teacher, or maybe the front office staff at your school. That's the place to go. They can direct you. I do know, as I said, East Oakland Pride had the handout yesterday. I know Sankofa Elementary is doing some handouts on Monday. So by the time we reach the end of this coming week, the first week of school, we should have computers in the hands of all of our students. That's the goal. So it's, of course, a long process. And of course, once we get to the point where we're handing out the Oakland Undivided devices, we're going to ask our families when they want to come to pick those new computers up, because these are brand new computers, to come pick those up and bring in the loaner, and you have to exchange them. We won't be giving any new computers out to anybody that's not replacing or bringing back the loaner that they had to start. So very, very exciting though, and we're confident that the technology will be there for the students and enable them to fully access their education, especially as we go through distance learning, which is how we're starting off the semester. All right, beyond that, I want to point out that attendance is mandatory and will be taken every day for every period starting on Monday. We expect students to engage in every class every day and to communicate with us if they are facing challenges in distance learning. And you'll be able to receive an online attendance pledge that describes how families, students, and schools will work together for success. So attendance will be a very important part of what our students are doing this year. And look, that involves logging on and being there in your classes and being there ready to engage and start learning. So that's what we want. You don't have to hop on the bus. You don't have to go all the way over to school. You don't have to get in the car or anything like that. So make sure that you're logging on. And if you don't have a computer yet, if you're having maybe trouble contacting anybody at the school, you can contact me. I will say that to our family first and foremost. Anybody that needs to get in touch with us for technology, contact me. My email is john.sasaki@ousd.org. My phone number is 510-214-2080. Happy to provide that information to you, or at least connect you with the people who can get you the information that you need as far as getting the technology to you. So want to say just a couple more things, and I'll open up for questions. Of course, this is a reminder I have to give everybody all the time anyway. We, of course, care about the health and well-being of our families, of our students, of our staff. We implore everybody to wear a mask anytime that you go out of your home, and especially if you're going to encounter other people. It's just a great habit to get into, and it will protect you and it will protect those around you. So please, please wear a mask, especially anytime you come into our schools for picking up food or picking up technology, or anything else, going to the store, going to the park, anywhere that you're going to be around other people. You need to be really, really careful. We want to make sure that we collectively as a community can wipe out this COVID-19. And what we really need to do is start by knocking out the spread of it. And you do that, of course, social distancing, proper hygiene, and wearing a mask. All right, and just a minute here. I need to pull up one more thing. Let me ask, before I go on, and I will address distance learning here in a second, but can I ask, do any of you have any questions right now?
Yeah, John. Kenny Choi from KPIX5.
Hang on a second. Let me just pull you back up here.
I do as well.
All right. It was Kenny. Go ahead, Kenny.
John, how you doing?
Good to see you, sir.
I think a lot of parents want to know what the day is going to look like, what next week and the next few weeks will look like in terms of distance learning. Where does the union stand, and where does the district stand in terms of the number of minutes for live teaching and asynchronous teaching right now?
Right. Let's see. What can I tell you about that? Because as I said, because we're in negotiations right now with our labor partners, I don't want to go into any real details on that. But there are some differences in what the union has been asking and what we've been asking. So we're just looking to bridge that and to come to an agreement between the two. With regard to what it will look like this week, I just have to find this one piece of information that will help me give you that answer. So hang on just a second. All right, so what I can tell you about what distance learning is going to look like to start the year. So this week, obviously, we've just been getting ready, distributing technology and school supplies, other things like that that our kids need to access their education. Next week, we will be welcoming students and families. We're going to be building capacity as we go along, because obviously this is a whole new world for all of us. The good thing is that our staff did an amazing job shifting on a dime back in the spring. You know, we had to go from in-person teaching on Friday the 13th, coincidentally, maybe not, I don't know, to distance learning starting really on the 16th. So that was Monday. So from Friday to Monday, we had to completely change. And this is a world that none of us had ever really been in. We'd never had to do anything like this. I mean, I don't know about all of you, but before then, I had never used Zoom. And then, you know, pretty much all of us shifted very quickly to using Zoom, using Google Classroom, using other online entities that allowed them to communicate with their classes and their colleagues and everything. And so our staff did an amazing job. But that job is not finished, and you know, we're still going to be learning as we go forward. But of course, this is something that the kind of challenge that people at school districts across the country are facing as well. And so I want to commend our staff, our teachers, our principals, everybody at our school sites for doing the amazing job that they did in the spring. And we look forward to supporting our teachers as we move forward through this process. Likewise, it has been asked of me, what about teachers' technology? I had heard that maybe some teachers had old computers that didn't work with Zoom as well. That's one of the things about the Open Undivided campaign that we're working on, is getting new technology into the hands of our teachers as well, to make sure that they have all the tools that they need to be able to connect with their classes and with their individual students. So that's a big part of the Open Undivided campaign, and we're very excited to help with that. So as far as welcoming students, families, building capacity, that involves activities to engage students and families in their school communities, even through the virtual setting. We're going to be doing daily professional development for our staff, for our teachers, and connecting with the families to explain how the schedules at their school will work. And the schedules kind of vary depending on the school. Even when the schools are open for kids to come into class, some of our schools start at one time, others start at a different time, and that's probably the same going forward. So first and foremost, I would say for anybody who has questions, contact your principal, contact your teacher, contact the front office staff at your school, and they can give you more details about what your first week of school is going to look like. Week 2, we're going to be continuing to build partnerships with our students, staff, families. Everybody's going to be getting together through all this. Staff will be connecting with families to explain how schools will use practices like small advisory groups or virtual home visits to build relationships. I know that you know, one of the real big challenges about this that didn't exist last spring, if you remember. This year we're starting in distance learning. The beginning of the year is so important for teachers to bond with their students, to get to know their students, to get to know their backgrounds and the things that they deal with outside of school. And they can't do that now because we are all distance learning. You don't get that, you know, one-to-one, face-to-face conversation and all that. But I know that our staff is going to be reaching out to our families to make sure that they feel connected with, they feel heard. And so we're going to connect as much as we possibly can. Maybe sometime in the not too distant future, we'll get to a point where we can do more in-person interaction with our families and our students. But until then, we have to do it either by phone or online like this. So we're excited, obviously, to connect in any way we can. I'm always excited to connect with you through this kind of venue. I'm much happier to do it in person like we did yesterday with some of you at our backpack giveaways. But it's you know, we'll make do with what we have, and families can expect to be hearing from their schools very, very soon if they haven't already, and they can always reach out to their schools as well. Week 3 will be assessing student needs and targeting supports, begin to assess students' academic skills and connect with families regarding additional resources and support for the uncertainty the school community will be going through this school year. Obviously, this is an uncertain time for everybody when people are concerned about their health. People are concerned about their kids' health, their teachers' health, their staff's health. And we want to make sure, of course, that everybody stays safe and healthy through all this. So week 4, we're going to be deepening in instruction and looking forward to the rest of the school year. So bottom line is, when it comes to the details of what the first day of school and then the successive days next week will look like, I would suggest that our families reach out to our principals, our teachers, our school site staff to get any additional information that they need. And I will tell you that we are already planning to do with the superintendent some drop-ins on virtual get-togethers that are happening kind of school-wide assemblies or individual classes across the district on Monday, and then we'll continue throughout the rest of the week. So that's roughly what we look like going forward. And so let me go ahead and start addressing some of these questions that have been posted in chat. So let me start with Misty Waters asked, families are asking if they should fill out the survey, even if they do not need a new device. No, you don't need to fill out the survey if you don't need a device. You can't get a survey unless you filled out you can't get a device unless you filled out the survey. So please do that first. Reginald Mosley said one survey per child or family with all students on the one survey. That's actually a very good question. I don't know the answer to that. Let me ask, is there anybody online from staff who knows the answer to that question? Probably not, because that's really more open undivided. So let me find that out and I will get back to you. I would say probably your best bet is one survey per child, unless the survey specifically says, and I admit I have not looked at the full survey, so I don't know, unless it says, it gives you the option to give, multiple students, because what we are going to do is not just put a computer in every home, but a computer in the hands of every student that needs them and that qualifies. So that the point is that we want to make sure that every student is covered. Let's see. Yes. So our board president, Jody London, if you are still there, I would love to hear from you right now if you want to come on and say a few words. So this is our board president, Jody London.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here today. This is definitely one of the most unusual back to schools I've experienced as a student or a parent or a member of the school board. But I really want to thank everybody for really sticking with us and being very flexible. I know that the negotiating teams are working hard, and as John said, we hope to have more information on that later today. And I'm really proud of everyone in the community for the way that we have stepped up since March to really support those who need help, quite a lot of help. And I'm extremely proud of our nutrition services department. I'm frustrated with the federal government for these new regulations that are going to restrict the ability of us to provide services and food to more families, but we will work and do everything we can to help those we are able to help. And around the devices and technology, again, what a tremendous lift. What a great partnership with the city. And I would like to encourage us all to think about what will it take for us for internet connectivity to be considered a utility in the same way that telephone and natural gas and electricity are considered a utility, and water, right? It's something you need right now in our world. So those are just a couple of bigger picture things to think about. To students, I know this is going to look really different than what you're used to and what you were hoping for. And we're going to get there. We're going to make it work. We're going to figure out how to make the best of this situation, how to make some lemons out of lemonade. And I'm really excited for the beginning of school. And what I'm really curious about is how are we going to innovate in this moment? Because that's what we do really well in Oakland. We're really good at coming up with new ideas and new ways to serve everybody. And I think this is going to be another one of those moments. But we're here to make sure that everybody has access to quality education. To the educators, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you're doing. For everyone who's supporting those educators, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone remember to take a deep breath, because we're going to need a lot of those also going forward. But thanks. And I can stay on for a little bit more if there's any questions specifically for me.
Thank you, President London. Let me ask you if anybody has any questions for our board president. Now's the time to ask them, because she has to go to another meeting. Looks like you may be, anybody there?
Teresa, I have a question.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Teresa. Yeah, Teresa.
Well, she said that there might be a negotiations update later today. Do you have any sense of what time that might be?
I do not.
Yeah, we update as soon as we can, and we'll certainly do that. For us, it's one of those things where if there's no news, we don't update. But what we will put out, I guarantee you, once we have a deal, and I know that that's what everybody's really interested in. Once we have that deal in place, we will put that out as soon as possible. So you will hear from us.
And are negotiations going on right now?
At this moment, I don't know, but they are going on today. Yes.
Another question I had is if the union does try to do that work action that they're talking about, is that legal? Because usually the district is the one that proposes their last best offer or imposes it, not the union. And so I was just wondering about the district's response to that.
Yeah, we're Teresa. I don't want to respond to that right now because again, we're in the middle of negotiations, so I don't want to say anything about that presently. I did want to mention that Nina Khalil, who's one of our staff members, said that she filled in a few of the Tech Check surveys for families, and it does have an option to add another student. So you can do multiple students on the Tech Check survey at the same time. Also, it is important to note that my understanding is that the survey can be done on a smartphone, so you don't have to have a computer to do it. Of course, this is a computer, but you don't have to have a laptop or anything else to do it. But we will be making sure that we get to all of our families that don't have computers currently in order to ensure that we get their voices heard, that they get us their information. And that could involve, we've been talking about doing it perhaps at our grab-and-go food sites. We'll have staff there ready to fill out the survey for them, or perhaps allow them to use the computer right there. So we're working on ways to make sure that we get to everybody who may not currently have any kind of technology that allows them to fill out the survey. Any other question?
Hey, John.
John, I have one more thing I wanted to ask Zenny, if you don't mind, just real quickly.
Sure.
It's very important for every family to fill out the free and reduced meal form. Even if your family does not qualify for free and reduced lunch, we need to collect that data, because that helps us when we go to the federal government. So I think everyone in Oakland is interested in making sure that everyone has food to eat. And so regardless, if you have a student enrolled in our school district, please make sure that you have filled out that form. Thank you.
I want to hang on a second. You reminded me of something else, President London. Of course, we want everybody in Oakland and frankly, everybody in the Bay Area to fill out their census. We need to get that census in. We want to make sure that we get the proper representation in Congress, and we want to make sure that we got the right amount of money from the federal government to support all the programs that are so important here in Oakland and the Bay Area. So please, everybody do the census. Zenny, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So regarding the check survey, is that essentially the online portal, say if a student doesn't get a computer? Because it sounded to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it was to a degree a kind of a piecemeal effort where the student had to approach either the teacher or the principal. If the relationship wasn't great, that might lead to a problem.
So that there are two things that work there. The Tech Check survey is about getting a computer from the Oakland Undivided campaign. All right, and so that's the computer that our kids get to keep. That they they'll get now in first or second grade, and they'll have until whenever, right? Whenever they'll have it beyond, however long these computers last, they'll have it. What we're talking about as far as getting a computer right now, they're not getting the Oakland Undivided computers right now. So if they have not been able to get in touch with anybody at their school, they can contact me, and we can make sure that they are connected to the people at their school to get one of the loaner computers. To bridge the gap between now and the time they actually get the
John, we should note, schools are doing proactive outreach. Every school has been, they're keeping lists of the kids, and they're reaching out to families. I mean, this has been going on since this all started. So there's been very, and several of our school leaders on the line, I'm sure they would say this as well, but principals have been very focused on making sure that every kid has a device. So we're just emphasizing it again because we want to make sure that it happens.
Thank you.
And I have heard from some families, like when I was at one of our backpack giveaways yesterday, we actually had two going on yesterday. I was there and a family approached me and said that they had the two kids and neither one had a computer. So we need to make sure that all of them are taken care of. And so, first and foremost, get in touch with your school if they haven't gotten in touch with you already. And if that doesn't work, you can contact me.
Thank you.
All right, let me see if there are any other questions in here. Hang on one second. Cynthia, she's a staff member, and she asked about meal service for preschool special ed programs and early childhood students. My understanding, and this is my understanding, and Cynthia, I can clarify this later, but my understanding is that you have to be K-12, TK-12. You cannot be preschool to get these meals. But that's really what we're talking about. This change from the federal government that President London said that she's pretty upset about. We want to make sure that we get food to all of our kids, because this is, just because we're reaching the school year, it doesn't mean that the needs have changed. If anything, they've probably gotten worse because, people are still struggling, people are still out of work, people still kind of losing resources. So we want to make sure that we get the food to as many of our students, as many of the young people really in Oakland as possible. So we hope that we can get to a different point where we can actually feed everybody. Let's see. Anybody have, let's see. Mr. Burbank at Bay City News asked, can you clarify when the open undivided computers will be available? We should be getting those distributed, starting to distribute them, I believe, through the schools at the end of this month. So the last week of this month, and then into September, hopefully by, say, mid-late September will be done, and everybody will have a computer, we'll have all of the loaners back, and we'll be able to start really focusing on the work as they need to. Of course, the loaner computers will help, and that's a great bridge for us. I mean, that's what we have to do because our kids have those needs. And so, I don't know that it'll be particularly different once we get the Oakland Undivided computers in, but of course they'll be brand new, and so that's exciting for these kids, and of course they'll be able to keep them for as long as they want, so that's exciting as well. Any other questions that anybody has? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. All right, well, I guess that wraps it up then. So thank you very, very much for joining us. And we really appreciate you guys sharing this information.
One more question.
Oh, yes. Who's this?
Sorry, I typed it in there, but I guess you don't see it. Are there available loaners for all the students that need them right now?
Yes, there are. Yes, we have, we already have, I believe we're somewhere in the 13,000 computer range that's already out, and more are going out right now. So if you check with your school, I don't know if you're a parent, I don't know if you are a member of the media, but if you check with the school and let them know that you need this, they will take care of you. And if they don't have it, we can move a unit from another school perhaps, or possibly from the central office to make sure that you have what you need. So yes, this is for any student in Oakland that has a need, that we will get them a computer, at least on loan. You have to qualify to get the Oakland Undivided computer, but that should cover pretty much everybody in the district who we believe has that need. So yes, that is our intent, without a doubt.
I have a question as well.
Yes.
How do you mitigate contacting families that have relocated? And has the district considered putting out an all points bulletin or whatever, asking families that have relocated to come in and contact the district and or their school?
So, I'm not quite sure what you mean. So they've moved out of the district?
Moved out of the last location where they were living.
So maybe still
because of whatever.
Okay.
But still in the district.
Yeah. So I mean, kind of in the most extreme case of that, we're talking homeless students, right? We do have some kids who don't have shelter, and that number has quite possibly gone up since this all began. This shelter in place began. So we do everything we can to get in touch with every one of our students to make sure that we know where they are and what they're doing. If they have a new address, we need to know that. If they have a new phone number, we need to know that, so we can keep in good, close contact with them. And obviously, we're doing that at the district level. We're also doing that at the school level. So we want to make sure that we know. But if anybody is in a situation like that, maybe you're watching the TV tonight, you're at a friend's house or whatever, and you haven't heard from us, please get in contact with us. Get in contact with your school. We will make sure that we update any records that we have for you.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. If there are no other questions, we will wrap it up. So thank you very much. And remember, do the census. Remember, wear your mask, practice social distancing. And we look forward to seeing everybody next Monday, early in the morning, next Monday, August 10th, first day of school. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, John. And
Thank
then
you.
can you just make sure to send out that link to us too?
I will, yes, I will follow up the press release I sent out announcing this thing with another press release, which includes the link to this. Yes,
Hey,
absolutely.
John, this
Okay,
is
thanks,
actually
John.
already
All right,
live,
thank
by
you,
the
guys.
way. Hey, John, this is actually already live and broadcast on Zenny 62 on YouTube if you want to check it out there.
Awesome. Well, maybe, and are you saying that other media can just take that and borrow it?
Absolutely. It's also going to be on Google News within approximately 21 minutes automatically, as well as on Twitter too. So yeah, it's already down there. There you go.
Zenny Abram coming through. Appreciate you.
You got it. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, that's good. I heard it. Fantastic.
And
My baby's busy.
hey, everybody, just want to let you know that that was the end of the broadcast. It is already automatically being posted as a video on demand at Zenny 62 on YouTube. It'll be on Oakland News Now momentarily, as well as Google News, News app, and Apple News, and other places. So subscribe to Zenny 62 on YouTube and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com.